All right, guys, this is Dr. Jared Pope. I want to go through with you a presentation here that we've titled How to Run a Highly Profitable Dental Practice in 2020, Systems and Tools for Success. This is me here. I'm a practicing dentist, working currently about 4 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week. Grew up in Salt Lake City. I've been practicing since 2003. First practice was in Chandler, Arizona. We currently have 11 practices in our group, 8 in Arizona, 3 in New Mexico. Once I grew to 11 practices, I realized that I needed a management team. Actually, the management team developed over time, but the name of that management team was Proverus. Pro means professional, and Verus means real or true. There's a quick picture here of my house. I only show you guys this at the beginning because the cardinal sin that I always, when I talk to new dentists, is that they always come out of school and they buy a new house and a BMW, and that gets them in trouble. I didn't do that. I didn't build this house until I had, a fairly high net worth. We had 10, 11 practices in our portfolio, and I was making high six figures. I lived in a small little townhome that was paid off. It was 1,900 square feet, and I drove a Prius. For most of my career, I was teased by all my staff for living such a poor man's lifestyle. But that's the reason, really, why I was able to get to where I'm at, is because I invested in businesses and things that paid me back, not in homes and things that are just expenses that don't kick off any cash. So I think part of what I'm trying to articulate to dentists too is, if you want to make more money and do better, you have to invest in yourself and in your business. So we'll chat about that a little bit more. So what makes this different? I'm not just going to give you a binder. It's not just a 1 or 2 day training. Like I said, we've done it. We are doing it. We have systems that cover every single thing that you need to run a practice. So a few things and systems and tools that have made all the difference for us. This is just a shorter presentation. I want to hit on a few things that I think or a few areas that I think most dentists care about and want information on. Obviously, this is a very broad topic, so I can't hit on everything in one presentation, but we're going to hit on a few things, show you our platform, things I think you're interested in. So first, these 5 things here. The first thing that I want to talk about that every dentist is concerned about is, how do I save money? Right? Why is saving money important? Well, obviously, if you don't learn how to save money in your practice, your overhead will eat you up quick. And I think anybody that's practiced realizes and watches the bank accounts and sees the money coming in and out, that if you don't know how to control your overhead, you're going to get in trouble. The old saying, a dollar saved is a dollar earned, penny saved is a penny earned. If you save a dollar, you put a dollar straight to your bottom line, right? That's profit in the practice. If you want to get that same dollar through production, you have to produce $4 to get that $1 to the bottom line. So really, saving money is a lot more effective way to improve your profitability over production, because not every office can just go up their production fourfold to increase their profitability. It's a lot easier to cut some of your expenses, manage that, and improve your profitability, because again, that dollar saved goes right to your bottom line. So the last office that we bought, just going off here and how we save a little bit of money, we have relationships with vendors and supplies. And the last office that we purchased, we pulled up their account and our account online through the same vendor. I won't say who that is, but one of the big dental vendors. And our cost literally on every item was half. Some items it was a third. So most of that just comes with special markets pricing. Because we're a group practice, I can buy things a heck of a lot less expensively now than I could when I only had 1, 2, 3 practices, because volume talks, and you can negotiate a lot more when you have higher volumes. So I think that the best way for most dentists is to become affiliated with a group to have some economies of scale like that. That's what we are, and that's kind of what we're offering, is to encourage you to become affiliated so that you have the benefits of group practice, but you still maintain the autonomy of private practice. I think that's the future. I think it's hard for guys anymore to compete with the profitability of group practice. I think it's going to be impossible in the future. We have more and more consolidation happening in the market. I think the days of private practice where you just put up your sign and you're profitable, that's just not going to happen. It's going to be harder and harder to do that. Another example that just so people understand the economies of scale, we had a website designed, right? And it was $20,000 to design a website, but then we have 11 locations. And so, we were able to replicate that 11 times. And now everybody in the group just gets the website for 20 grand. We split it and every office spends less than, $1,800 or something for a website. So you get a $20,000 website for $1,800. And we do that all over the place. So I can't even begin to tell you all the places that we save money. Another big one that you see quite a bit is just labs and supplies. Everybody's trying to save money on supplies. Everyone's trying to save money on labs. I found out early on that it was really hard because I had all the offices buying from different places and different vendors. And so I couldn't control costs as well as I would have liked to. So what we did over time is we developed a supply list, and it allows us to basically, we have about 780 items, I think, currently, and it tells all the assistants exactly where to buy everything from. So when you become affiliated with us, you actually get a portal. You can log in. The assistants log in. They enter their password. And again, this portal, you're going to see a lot of different screenshots here, information on this portal. The assistants log in, they click on the supply list, they can look here and they can search. It's searchable for whatever you want. So here they can search temporary, and that's what comes up. So the Crown and Bridge temporary material that pops up here, I can't tell you my pricing on it, but I'm just going to tell you, if you're a single practitioner, I'm buying it for less than half of what you're paying for it, I promise. And I'm not exaggerating. So you can expand this out, and the MSDS sheets are also here. So there's the image, the price, it tells them where to buy it. And again, there's 750 items in there. We're checking this all the time as we renegotiate pricing. It gets uploaded here. That way you make sure that everybody's buying the right things from the right places. You can't get the best price. Here you see Henry Schein. I can't get everything from Henry Schein at a perfect price. So we buy from multiple vendors. Whoever gives us the best price, we just plug it into the system, and there you go. Then all your systems, you just tell them if it's not on there, you got to get approval from me to buy it. Here as we go on, you're going to see labs. Here's another thing that we track. So we have a lot of graphs and things that we track, because if you don't track it, you don't know how you're doing. If you don't watch it, you're not seeing it. You don't really know what's going on. So here's lab expenses versus net production. We try and keep our lab expenses at 3% of net production. So there you go. That's a really good number. What national average is something 7%. Our supplies, we try and keep, again, we're looking at net production too. I care about net production because that's really all that matters. You have to take all your write-offs. That's really your money that you should be able to collect there. So this shows you how your office is doing. Again, this is part of the portal. They log in, and this is tracked. So you can go look at any office, and you can see this information graphed for you. You can compare, how the trending and how they're doing month over month. So it gives you a place to watch as you scale practices too. Okay, so this brings us to System 2, how to present treatment and talk to patients. Why is this one important? Because if you don't know how to talk to patients in the right way and present treatment effectively, no one's going to accept your treatment plans. You're not going to have any work to do. You're not going to stay in business. You can't grow. I served a mission for my church when I was younger, and I kind of learned this principle there. I'd walk into people's houses. We'd talk to them. They wouldn't listen to us, and we'd leave, and I'd walk home thinking, God, what did I not say, or what could I have said differently that they would have listened to what I had to say? So I reflected on the story of Jesus and the woman caught in adultery in the New Testament, and they come to Jesus and say, hey, the law says we should stone this woman. What do you say? And his answer's perfect there, right? It totally diffuses the situation. And I was just always in awe with how well Jesus always had the right answer, in any given situation. And so I would walk home thinking about what could I have said differently to get these people to accept my message. As I became a new dentist, I always had those same thoughts going through my mind. Because we all know this as dentists, you go into a room and you present treatment, you're all excited about it, and you think the patient's on board with you, right? And you're all excited about all this treatment, and then you think, oh yeah, they totally get it. And then they don't schedule, and you don't know why. I was always asking myself, why didn't they schedule? How can I present treatment more effectively? What does the patient need, right? Not just because I think that my presentation's awesome doesn't mean that the patient thinks that way. So if you don't know how to present well and talk to patients, that's a huge problem. Your practice just won't grow. But people just can't assess your clinical skills. I think as dentists, we think that just because we're authoritative figures and we're dentists, that patients should just accept everything we talk to them about, and that they value dental care to the same level we do. And the fact is they don't. People buy what they want, not what they need. So your job is to make them want dentistry. If you can effectively do that and guide their thinking along certain routes, then you'll get greater case acceptance. So Robert Cialdini, he has a couple of books out in Influence and Persuasion. Anyway, he's kind of he talks about the psychology of influence a lot. I think his books are critical to understand and apply those principles to dentistry. They're universal principles, right? And they can really help increase case acceptance if you understand them and you apply them in the right way. We use a lot of photos. We use TVs. We do comp exams on TVs in front of patients so they're not staring up at your nose hairs. So I'll teach you and how to talk and how to present treatment in a way that's much more conducive to not just case acceptance, but large case acceptance. I've just focused on that a lot throughout my career and been able to help a lot of dentists get better in that realm. So part of what we also do with our affiliated practices and our practices is that we are always learning. We have continuing education programs that we put on. They've been happening at least a couple times a year where we bring in people and help if it's ortho, it's implants, it's perio. Because the bottom line is if you're more comfortable in providing the actual services to your patients, you're going to be more comfortable at providing care for them as well. So that's an important part of it. We also track a lot of this stuff, so you can see the production per patient. We look at doctors. So again, a portal for our offices. We have, for us, it's a state, the office, the provider. I can choose date ranges, and we track all this stuff. So this is what part of the whole system that we've put together is what we want to share with other dentists. And this is how you measure everything and are able to be more effective in management as you look at all your practices. So you can look at them all here in this dashboard that we've developed. It's just kind of our own version of all these things, just the specific things that we want to watch. Again, all this is just, part of presenting treatment and talking to patients, but you have to be able to measure how your doctors are doing. We actually had a couple doctors that I've helped tremendously increase their production per patient just through correct verbiage and presentation. So you can change these metrics if you understand the things that influence people and how they make decisions. You can change these things for the better in your practices. Here's more information we watch on our hygienists. We want to see the hygienists and their production per patient. We want to see their fluorides and their perio and their, what percentage of what's being done in hygiene is from perio to make sure they're diagnosing sufficient perio. All right, system 3, marketing systems. Marketing's a huge part. I'm a big marketer. I was always a pretty big producer. In clinic, I wasn't the smartest guy in my class. When I got to clinic, I excelled there in clinic. And if you're a good dentist, in my mind, and you can produce well, you need new patients all the time because you get all your dentistry done. You need new blood coming in all the time with new problems to fix. Otherwise, you can't stay busy enough. So for me, new patients were really important. So marketing systems were critical for me to be able to scale and grow and continue generating revenue for the practices. Really, your new patients and your hygiene program are the lifeblood of your practice. I think we all want more new patients. There are some highly established practices that can just live off their hygiene recall, but I think generally speaking, I'm just making an assumption here, but most dentists want all the new patients they can get. But where do you get them from? How much do they cost, right? How much revenue do they bring into your office? One of my big practices that we started, one of the early ones years ago, I've marketed consistently and branded over time, and so now we have even more new patients coming in. But we've had marketing ongoing for 15 years, so time matters too. Things that we do to help with with marketing systems. Here's something again that we have. This is all in house. This is all part of kind of our platform and being affiliated with our group. So here's a text message that goes out to a patient. They come into your office. I realized that I wanted more Google reviews, right? So this came from the headache of how do I get more Google reviews. We all know that patients come into a new area, they buy a house in your area, they move into your area. What do? They go up and say, best dentist in my area, right? And the ones with the most stars, that's probably who they're calling. Whoever pops up first, second, even if it's a paid ad or it's just an organic search on Google, they're looking at your stars, and whoever has the most, they're probably calling your office. So I realized I wanted to dominate that. I realized that was really important. So, we set up a whole thing with the officers originally that said, okay, Disneyland, everybody that gets the most reviews, will send the whole office to Disneyland. And we tried to promote it through the practices, and it just didn't work very well. I couldn't get all the staff on board. They'd have to ask the patients while they're in the chair, can you use your phone? Can you give us a review? It just didn't flow very well. It was really hard. Great idea, but the execution just wasn't really there. And if there's anything I can share too, is that ideas are a dime a dozen. Being able to execute on things and actually get stuff done is hard. So everything we're trying to show you here is a way to execute and automate a lot of this process. So we developed a program here that basically syncs up with your practice management software. It sends out a text message. The patient comes into your office. When they're set complete in your practice management software, they leave and they get this text message. And it basically asks them to leave a review on Google. This process enabled us to capture over 1,000 reviews last year, and it happens automatically. I don't have to go in and bug the staff. The staff doesn't have to bug the patients. It's automated, and it freaking works, and it happens. So that's a great marketing tool, and it's really helped us work our way up on the Google, organic searches and number of reviews. So something else here that we have too, that's just really cool. When I was first out of school, I called every patient. I was really good. I was at, really nice, perfect doctor. And then after you practice for like 10 years, you get lazy, you get busy. It's really hard to do things as good as you did when you first got out of school. So, and as you get busier and scale, you have other problems. But I would get a list of patients that I saw that day, anybody that gave an injection to or did an invasive surgery on or anything. I can't remember exactly the parameters that I had originally, but I would call these patients and just a quick courtesy call to make sure they're doing okay. And my patients loved it. It was a really good way to build your practice. And if you can do that as a single practitioner, awesome. I would totally encourage that, because patients are always wowed by it. Wow, I've never had a doctor call me. That's really cool. You guys do this. Well, try and get 15 doctors to do that, and the OMs to give them, a list of every patient, everything. That's really difficult. So again, we decided, hey, let's automate this too. So we have a texting app that basically does the same thing, syncs up with the practice software, sends out a text message to your patients, but it's through a platform and an app that you don't have to use your cell phone number. It looks like it's coming from you, the provider, or your hygienist. We send it out for hygienists. We send it out for doctors anytime they do an extraction, a root canal, an implant, hygiene anytime they do SRPs. And there's these conversations here. You can see them. I've had these conversations with my patients. I blocked out their names here for HIPAA, but I have these conversations with my patients, and they love it. They're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Thanks for reaching out to me. But again, it's automated. It happens, right? So that's what you're after. So we have this way of this white glove service that happens for your patients, which helps tie them to your practice, and it builds rapport with your patients, but it's not reliant on you and your staff doing something that I'm just going to tell you is almost impossible to execute on. Here's how we track. This is just one of the ways that we track. These are the graphs that we'll track Facebook, we've tracked postcards, we've done billboards in the past, different ads, but anything that we do, we'll track this way. So we'll look and say, okay, we spent $3,000 on Facebook ads, $3,200 on Facebook ads. Here's how many calls and patients. We got 17 new patients from it. And then we measure the first 30-day charge that was posted to ledgers and Dentrix. So basically we got $1,400 per patient, right? And that's pretty good. That's a pretty good return, right? In the first 30 days, you spend 3 and you get 24. I think that's worth it. Here, cost per patient, $190 per patient. And that's kind of a big number that we're looking at too. So this is how we measure, and then you can allocate resources accordingly. But you have to be able to see this for all your practices or individual practice alone. Either way, you need the right data to make the right decisions, so that you can allocate your marketing budgets to the right places. If it's more postcards, if it's more Facebook ads, it allows you to make those decisions in a better way. Here's another thing that we do for, to help out with just patient interaction, automation, is treatment videos. So patients come in, the wife comes into your practice and you diagnose, $5,000 or $10,000 worth of dentistry. She goes home and tells her husband. Her husband's like, hell no, you're not doing that. Forget it. Right? We all know that's what happens. So what I started doing is I'd say, hey, is there a significant other that will be, helping make this decision for you in regards to your healthcare? And if the answer was yes, I'd say, I'd like them to come in because I'm concerned a lot. I want them to understand as well, the things that I'm concerned about. And I would try to get the other person to come into the office, and I would then show them with photos, and I would engage that significant other that's helping make those financial decisions. Because if she goes home and tells her husband, she'll botch the thing, right? Done. You're not getting any case acceptance out of that. If you control it, then much better. However, again, difficult. You're not going to be able to get every significant other to come back into your office for a separate visit. So what we did is the same thing. There's treatment videos that we link to, and there's a bunch of different, companies that you can use for this. We use Spear Education videos, but basically any treatment that was done or treatment planned in the office that day, there's a follow-up video that comes to them the following day. They get a video from you or videos. It's tied to the whatever's your ADA codes, whatever was diagnosed, and it kind of looks like this. And they're going to get an email, and it's going to just say, based on whatever ADA codes were diagnosed, it will pull the correct video. And now they have a little bit more information to share with their significant other. It's not a solve-all. It's not going to, get every person that walks out of your office without case, accepting treatment to call back, but it's sure a heck of a lot better than nothing. And it's automated, so it doesn't really eat up any resources to have this in place. We also have a savings plan. So this is our in-house savings plan that we've developed. It's all put together. It basically gives people, a discount, and it also ties them to your office. They pay a yearly premium for themselves or for their families, and then it gives them a discount. So that's all done and in place for anybody that doesn't have one. We can provide that to you. System 4, staff support. So this is kind of the last area that I wanted to discuss here. Oh, sorry, I got 5 areas, second to last. So system 4 here, staff support, why it's important. Again, as you scale and you get more and more employees, I don't think we have 80 employees. It gets tough to manage everything and train everybody and onboard new employees. They all have to be HIPAA and OSHA trained. You got phone training, you got office experience training, philosophy of care. It's not easy to continue to do all that. I'm not saying we do it perfect, but at least we have some systems in place to help with that. I'll show you those here. So this is our HIPAA training. So new hire comes on. You hire them. They have to be trained, OSHA and HIPAA trained in the first day or two of being hired in your office. Well, there you go. So now they're going to get a portal and a login. We can customize the information however we want. We can give them access to any of these graphs or data in any way we want. So doctors would have access to certain things. Hygienists would, OMs would, and new hires, depending on their position, would. But they go in there, they take this HIPAA, they watch the HIPAA training. So the video's here. They take the quiz, and then they basically email it to their OM. They choose whatever office they're affiliated with. It'll prompt them to choose the office, and it gets emailed out, and it's done. Same with the OSHA and HIPAA happens that way. Something something else we have here is the document center. So kind of like our supply list, we have a document center. So all your office documents are located here, all your consent forms, all your checklists. So do you have a checklist for each position in the office? Do you have a daily, weekly, monthly checklist for your office manager, your financial coordinator, for your assistants? You can customize these as you would like, but if you don't have that, it's here. Or do you have a handbook, right? Does that all spelled out? All your employee benefits and everything that belongs in a staff handbook. So we have a template for that as well, if you want one. But you can basically go through here and choose all your consent forms and new patient forms and whatever you're looking for. Isn't it searchable as well? And it's also in Spanish. So all the forms are also Spanish. So we have we have English and Spanish versions of all of our forms. Basically, those should be these will be all the forms that you need to run an office. Obviously, you could add whatever you want to it, but this is what we use for our offices, and that everything's there. Kind of last but not least is advanced leadership training and support. Why it's important: if you want to scale and you want to have multiple practices, this is for probably those that are looking for multiple practices. You have to learn to be a good people person. You have to understand leadership. It's difficult. You're working with a lot of people and a lot of different personalities. You have to learn to be flexible. You have to have the right agreements in place. You have to have a leadership team. You have to have lease and contract negotiations. You have to know where you can, what's a good deal, what isn't. I have probably 30 presentations on just about every aspect that you'd want to go through with your teams on training teams in different areas, from the patient experience to, verbiage in every position and how to answer phones and whatnot. So those are things that you'd also have access to. If you have multiple offices and you want to start training your teams and be a local leader, we can provide you with a lot of that material so that you can train and be a leader for your teams. So anyway, hopefully, I know this has been probably not even quite an hour, but anyway, half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it's been here. Hopefully you guys found this information intriguing and helpful. Obviously, it's tough for me to fit 20 years of experience into a 1 hour presentation. But if you guys are interested and you want us to further help you, or you have more questions about what we can do for your practice potentially, you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to help. Who's this for? Really, it's those that are driven to succeed. If you're a single practitioner looking for additional structure and support, if you're a small group of practices looking to scale, I can tell you right now, when I was out at 2 or 3 practices, I had a lot of headaches. I made a lot of mistakes. I had associates and I was running around I like a chicken with his head cut off, and a lot of guys hit 3 and they just can't go beyond that because they don't have this structure, to be honest with you. So if I had this back in the day, I could have gotten to where I was at a lot quicker. And that's kind of what we're trying to present here. Or if you're just a dentist that's looking for the benefits of group practice and cost savings while maintaining your individual autonomy, you can just tap into what we have here and enjoy some of the cost savings, etc. We're going to be doing an event at my home to discuss this in more detail, and I can show you personally how you can apply these strategies to your practice. We can talk about all these areas in more detail. Why are we doing this? I think that I've done pretty well. We have a group of practices. I think the next level for us too is to continue to grow through affiliated practices. I want to help other dentists. I guess your motivation changes in life at different areas. I think we've done pretty good, and I just want to help other guys and put together a group of like-minded doctors. I think we have a good platform, and I think we can scale, and we can continue as we grow to gain more market share, and also we can leverage buying power and economies of scale will get even greater as we have more affiliated practices. So next, if this is an exclusive event, we just do it at my home. It's a small little kind of group here, so we have about 7 people that we'll have. If you're interested, you can reach out and speak to Lauren personally. Just obviously there's no cost for anything. If you have any questions, reach out to him, let him know. There's a link here. You can click on this link, fill out the information, and he'll get a hold of you. Thanks, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed this. I appreciate your time. Bye.